All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I got a big old smile on my face for today's video because last night we end up going 3-0, a clean little sweep there, guys. 3-0 last night. We had Kyle Lowry over 11.5 points. That cashed. Thunder -3. The rumbling, covering. Thunder had to fight back in the fourth quarter, but they end up winning the game. They cash. And then we had our ride of the day coming in from 006, A. Henry here. He had the ride of the day. Andrew Wiggins over 2.5 assists, and that cashes as well. So 2-0 in our personal plays and 1-0 in terms of the ride of the day, making it a 3-0 day. Shout out to A. Henry here, guys. If you want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I'll be picking one person and ride with their play, and then you guys get a shout out, win or loss in the next video. But you got to use the hashtag ride of the day and give me an absolute lock, guys. Also, before we jump into this, we got a bunch of NBA games on today's slate. You guys know how we do it. We go through each and every game. I give you my lean, I give you what I'm thinking, give you where my head's at on the game, but my final plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with and what I finalize will be in the pinned comment of this video, so make sure to check that out. If you're watching this super early in the morning when it first gets uploaded, we probably haven't updated that pinned comment because we haven't totally finalized everything yet, but make sure to check back later. All final plays will be in there by the time the game starts, obviously, so make sure to keep an eye on that pinned comment. And I wanted to talk to you guys before we jump into the video about the new video on the channel here. I kind of walk through from a beginner's perspective how to build a sports model here for predicting games. This one's NBA specific, so make sure to go check it out. It is on the channel now. I wouldn't recommend just taking this and rolling with it. I say it in the video that this is a model, like a starter's point, right? You know, a beginner's guide to starting a model for someone that doesn't exactly know where to start. But I always think it's best to have analytics that back every sports betting decision that you make, and building a model is an amazing way to do that. So make sure to go check out this video, guys. It is a very, surface level beginner starting point. The goal is for you guys to be able to watch this, add to it, make it more complex and more accurate as you record yourself and test and that type of thing, and you guys can make a successful model kind of off of it. So yeah, I just want you guys to go check that out, show it some love, make sure to hit that like button on the video as well. And guys, before we get into the picks, this episode is brought to you by my bookie here, guys. My bookie, the best sports book to use here. They have the largest selection of odds. You can play anything, anywhere, anytime, live bets as well. Right now, if you use the link in our description and use the code GBS, you can get a first time deposit match. If you're watching this video, you probably like to bet on sports. You're probably going to play some NBA plays tonight. Why wouldn't you incorporate a new sports book? Get a % of your deposit back and pretty much make the play for free. You guys always know I'm talking about odd shopping on different books, guys. My bookie's line differ from plenty of other books out there, so it's always good to have another book in your repertoire, in your arsenal. So make sure to check out my bookie. A super simple interface, very easy to sign up. So make sure you use that link in the description. When you deposit, use the code GBS. They have a bunch of cool features on there as well, like weekly contests for NFL. They have the spin the wheel money bag. They also have reload bonuses, so if you need to re-up your money in there, you get some percentage back there as well. Make sure to go check out my bookie. Very happy to be working with them, and thank you to everyone that signed up from yesterday's video and the sponsorship there. But let's jump into this, guys. We are absolutely rambling, but we got to get to some damn picks because we are hot right now. So the first game on our slate is Washington taking on the Sixers here. Sixers 7.5 point favorites, which makes sense. They won this game by 7 points last game. Joel Embiid is questionable here, still with that illness. We don't have a total, and you'll notice we don't have a couple totals for these games in today's video. I do apologize for that. We're recording this. I don't know why those totals aren't out right now, but at the time of recording, which is the night prior late though, we're not seeing any of the totals. So I do apologize, but we'll give you an idea of the pace of the game and everything like that. But guys, so back to this pick. Just if you see any TBDs in the graphic and whatnot, I do apologize for that. But in terms of this pick, I'm actually going to lean Washington here plus 7.5. I think that obviously they saw Philly just a couple nights ago, kept it to within this line. Joel Embiid may play, that could sway it, but I'm going to lean Washington here plus 7.5. I don't think that this ends up being a final play whatsoever. I don't truly trust this Washington team yet, but I am going to lean them just because I think it's a big number for Philly to cover here. Now, I've said multiple times, right? Like, I'm waiting for the Sixers team to get it going, and they seemingly have gotten it going. 3 covers in a row, 3 wins in a row against Toronto, Chicago, and Washington. but at some point there's got to be a little bit of a setback here, and this is their first big spread they've had in a while here, in about 4 games. So we're gonna fade them here and go Washington plus 7.5. It is a lean as of right now. We'll see if it becomes a pinned comment final play. Make sure to check it out. Next up, we have the Hawks. Oh, by the way, that Washington and Philly game, I do think that game could be a potential under, depending on what the total is. My model has it going at around 219, 220 points. We'll see what the total actually comes to. Last game, when they played, the total finished at 216. So if it's right around there, we're probably not pulling the trigger on this, but I do think it's going to be a slower paced game. Next up, we got the Knicks hosting the Hawks here. Knicks 2-point favorites. Total is 228.5. I do like the Knicks in this spot. Now, like I said a little while ago, we don't necessarily need to force anything. Both of these teams have kind of been a little rocky to start the year. Here for Atlanta, they go and win 2 straight, then they lose, and they win 2 straight, they lose 2. The Knicks in a similar boat here. They win, then win, or they lose, then win 3 in a row, and then lose. So both these teams are kind of rocky, but I do think that this Knicks team is the type of team that can kind of outwork Atlanta. And also, this total, I do like the over in this game. I think that this is, I'm not exactly sure why I see this total so low. Probably because in the last 2 games, the Knicks haven't reached that 110-point mark. But in terms of these 2 teams' defenses, I mean, Atlanta in the last few games, they let up 139 points. Before that, 123, 112, 113, 126. New York let up 121, 119, 131. I think this New York team and Atlanta defenses here are nothing to really tip your nose at or brag about. So from a defensive perspective, we know they have offensive talent on both teams. I think that we're looking at a lot of points in this game. So I'm going to lean the over in that one as well. I do caution it just because it is such a high total, but we lean the over in that one nonetheless. All right, next up, we got my Boston Celtics taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers here. Celtics dropped this one a couple nights ago. It was that Friday night against the Cavaliers. That was Friday, right? Then they get a win. They bounce back against Washington a couple nights ago. Cleveland, they won against New York a couple nights ago as well. So you have 2 teams coming off wins here. I think that Boston looks at this and says, you know what? Let's get a little bit of revenge here. Let's go out and do it. So we have them -1.5 on some books, -2 on some books. I would play it up to -2. I like the Celtics in this one, and that is not a biased pick here. I do think that the Celtics team gets the job done now that they are facing Cleveland yet again. Miami Heat, who just took the win against Golden State here. Miami 6.5-point favorites over Sacramento. And this Kings team's actually been playing good basketball, right? We saw them beat Miami just a few nights back. Then we see them beat Charlotte, a come from behind win. Miami dropped a game to Golden State, lost to Sacramento. They did just beat Golden State, so we'll give them credit there. But they're not playing as good of basketball as of late as the Sacramento Kings here. They still have only covered a couple games on the season. This Sacramento Kings team, even though they're only 2-4 on the season, they're 4-2 against the spread. So I think 6.5 points is a lot of points to give Sacramento, especially when Miami's coming off that back-to-back. So I'm going to look at the Sacramento Kings here, the underdog on the road, +6.5. I do like that play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that becomes a final play. Model has this total going at right around 226.4. So depending on what this total comes out as, that could be something to look at there as well. But I don't know how to trust Miami on the second night of a back-to-back here early in the season. All right, Charlotte taking on Chicago. You know we love Charlotte in these big plus spots here. They're getting 4.5 points on the road. Chicago is 3-4 straight up here. Charlotte's 3-4 straight up. They're 4-3 against the spread. The Bulls are 3-1 against the spread. Chicago's coming off 2 losses, 1 to San Antonio and then 1 to Philly. And Charlotte's coming off that loss we just talked about to Sacramento. In terms of injuries here, Terry Rozier still looks like he's going to miss the game with an ankle, and Cody Martin with a quad. And for Chicago, Andre Drummond ruled out, or actually questionable for this game, excuse me, as the Bulls, I'm looking at their injury report from last night. And then Zach LaVine out Wednesday versus Charlotte here. So obviously keep an eye on those injuries. I think Kobe White's a little banged up as well. I think he sat out, if I'm not mistaken, the previous game. So let's see if he ends up playing against Charlotte here, but I'm going to lean Charlotte +5.5. In terms of their spread game here, I mean, 4-3, just barely positive, but they have kept games close, and they were about to win that game against the Kings just a little while back, or last game actually. So I do trust this team, even without Terry Rozier, even without LaMelo Ball. They seem to get it done. PJ Washington, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward, those guys are playing some good basketball. So I lean Charlotte here +5.5 just because it is a lot of points in this one. Milwaukee 11-point favorites against Detroit here. I don't want to spend too much on this one. I lean Detroit because it's such a big number. We saw the Bucks. What did they win by? 12 last game? 9? What do we got here? They won. Wow, they won by 2 points last game. The spread was 12. My bad. So Milwaukee wins that game by 2. I think Detroit can keep it to within 11 points. I doubt this becomes a final play. The only reason I'm leaning Detroit is because I don't want to have to lay 11 points. Even though Milwaukee is such a good team, that was their first non-cover game last game. I just think that that's way too many points to lay here. Even if Milwaukee, like I'm not saying they can't go out there and win this game by 1,000,000 points. They're a way better team, way better than the Detroit Pistons. I just don't feel comfortable laying 11 points on a final play. So I lean Detroit, but we probably don't really look at this game. We could take a peek at the over here. Last time they played, it was a 228 finish. Right now, the total is sitting at 224. So we even have recent history to show that they could be able to get this win. Excuse me, no, actually it's 218. I can't do math. Big old womp womp. We're staying off this game altogether. You can tell the games that I don't really look into because I'm like, all right, here's a lean, but like when I say lean, I mean a lean. So let's just move on from that game. I really don't think I'm going to have a Bucks Pistons play tonight, guys. Houston taking on the Clippers here. Houston 5-point dogs at home. They end up keeping that game close. Houston does catch the L last game, but it was a 95-93 game. We had the under there. We also leaned Houston with the points. I don't think that I do that again. I still do honestly look at a little bit of the under as we have to get these up here. I still look at the under, but I don't totally love it. So I'm probably sticking away from it, but I do look at the under, and I think I lean LA to kind of bounce back in this one. So I'm going to Clippers -5 in this one, just because, you know, they should be able to separate themselves from this Rockets team. And if they don't, it's going to look pretty bad. And also they're 0-6 in the last 6 games against the spread. So I think we're going to look at the under and the Clippers here -5. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that ends up becoming a final play here. Next up, we have the Spurs taking on the Raptors. Right now, it is a pick'em. We'll see what the final line comes out to be. And I don't know if maybe it's a pick'em. I do have a 0 on each side of the spread here, but it could be because what I have does not have the update as of now, because I don't really see the Spurs team being at the same level as the Raptors. I think that this game probably is a 3.5 to 5 point spread in favor of Toronto, and I still lean them there. So for what that's worth, guys, we have a TBD for the total, a TBD for the spread. I think that this game should be handicapped right around Toronto -3.5 to -5, and I'd probably play it up to that. So if it's anything below that, you know exactly where our lean is. Next up, we got the Jazz, who are 6-2 on the season, which is pretty surprising. The Mavericks 3-3 on the season. Positive against the spread, though, 3-2-1. They are 6-point favorites in this game, and this Jazz team has been playing good. We cannot deny that whatsoever here. They beat Memphis 2 times in a row, which you would not have thought. They're underdogs in both of those games. And Dallas is coming off of a game that probably ended up being closer than they wanted to against Orlando. They were 9-point favorites to head into the game. They end up winning by 9, so it was a push. And it looks like Christian Wood is going to be questionable for this game, and 2 injuries that we've seen all year long. Davis Bertans and Frank Ntilikina for them downgraded to out as well. Honestly, I hate to do it. I hate to push my luck, but I think I lean Jazz again. Am I crazy? Am I crazy to lean Jazz in this one? I think that this is a game that Dallas probably wins, but I think by 2 to 4 points is what they win by. And if you're going to give me 6 points, I might lean the Jazz here. So guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that becomes a final play. But I'm strongly leaning Jazz here. What I am actually very strongly leaning, I'll be completely honest, is the total here. We're going to look at the over in this game. I think both of these teams are very capable of scoring 115 points against each other, which would be a 230 total. So I like the over in this game a lot, but I also lean Utah, and I might be a psychopath, but you know what? I wouldn't be profitable in this if I wasn't a psychopath, taking some of these underdogs and they end up winning outright and whatnot. Maybe I'm just a little crazy. We got the Grizzlies taking on the Blazers here. Grizzlies 3.5-point favorites on the road. We just talked about their recent games. They lost to Utah 2 in a row here. Portland still going to be out with, still going to have Damian Lillard out here. For Memphis, their injuries, they do have a long injury report. Desmond Bane's questionable. Jaren Jackson Jr. is questionable. Steven Adams questionable. Danny Green questionable. Ja Morant not on the injury report, which is obviously a good thing. He's been bouncing around on the injury report as of late. I think this is a good bounce back spot for Memphis, even if some of those guys don't end up getting the run here, like Steven Adams or Desmond Bane, some of those more important guys. I think with the Ja Morant-led Grizzlies team, they can take down a Portland team that is without Damian Lillard. Now, don't get me wrong, Portland does have some guys on the team that are, you know, surprisingly keeping this ship going, as they are 5-1 on the season. They lost to Miami. That's their sole loss, but beat Houston by 14 points. Easily covered that game a couple nights back. They are well rested, but I still think that this is a more hungry Grizzlies team, and I think that Grizzlies going to come out there and eat up whatever the hell a Trailblazer is. I guess a Trailblazer is someone that paves their own path and blazes their own trail, but yeah. But anyways, Trailblazers, I think that they do have a little bit of a regression spot here. I expect them to get their second loss of the season, and I think the Grizzlies bounce back from 2 losses to Utah. All right, guys, we got the last game on the video. I know it's a long video. Hopefully you guys stuck around here. If you did, let's get an awesome word in the chat. Let's go with sweep in the chat, guys. Drop the word sweep in the comments if you made it to this point in the video. Usually when I do this, you know, we're like 15 minutes in, there's like 2 people out of the thousands that watch, 2 people that do it. So if you are watching right now, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop the word sweep in the comments, guys. Always fun to do that. But we got the Lakers 3-point dogs here at home. They're 1-5 on the season, 1-5 against the spread. The Pelicans 4-2 against the spread and straight up as well. The Lakers coming off that win to Denver. They won by 11 points. They're 2.5-point dogs, so it was pretty surprising to see that. The Pelicans still going to be without Brandon Ingram. LA is questionable here in terms of Anthony Davis, and Juan Toscano-Anderson is upgraded to probable here. I think that this Lakers team, they may be catching a little bit of a hot streak here. I shouldn't have said that. It's not like an idiot saying that. They may be finding themselves a little bit here, and at home against the Pelicans team that I do want to see get tested a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that some of these wins here against Brooklyn, Charlotte, they do lose to Utah. They beat Dallas, who I'm not saying is a bad team, but then they beat LA. I don't think that they've really been truly tested, and if this Lakers team decides to turn it on at one point during this game, it could be a good spot to get them at +3. Even if they end up losing the game by 2, I think that we still have a good pick here. So I lean the Lakers. I might be a psycho, guys. You know, I'll fire it. I'll fire the psycho alert alarm, because leaning Lakers here is kind of crazy. The total is 229. Probably going to look at the under in this one as well, but I lean the Lakers in the under. Don't love it, but I lean it. But guys, that's what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. I know it was long. I know we had a crap load to talk about, but yeah, positive night last night. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. That's where any player props go, the ride of the day, all that good stuff, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.